Hi everyone, it's Dino, and we're going to go into how to make a Daal Tarka. It's pretty late at night. I believe it's almost 8 o'clock. It's at 7:45 right now. I don't really feel like making anything elaborate, but I do need to eat something for dinner, so here we go. I've already put a pot of rice on the boil, so that's going away quite happily in my rice cooker. It's going to take another 15-20 minutes to get done. And I could, if I felt like it, get some mung dal, which is up here in my pantry. I'll bring it up to the front so that you can see what it looks like. So they're little split mung beans that are split and hulled, and they take about anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes to cook. But it's been a long day. I'm tired. I just want to get something done that's going to be relatively healthy. I've got a little bit of oil in the bottom of my pan right there. And I'm using stainless steel because then I can attack it with a steel wool when I'm ready to clean. So I'm going to put that on the heat right now. I'm putting it in the back because, you know, the seeds and whatnot do tend to splutter and spit and make a mess. So I'm just, you know, getting it out of the way. So there's that. And it's going to take a few seconds for it to get hot. This is it's a relatively decent pan. It's got a fairly heavy bottom, so you know it's not going to get hot instantaneously, but it's going to take it a few seconds. See, that's what kind of day it is. I have stuff falling, so let me just hang that back up so I don't burn anything. All right, so this is my choice of what I want in my dal. You can choose whatever spices you like. And since I'm only using a can, that might not seem like very much mustard seed to really do much of anything. But I'm only using, you know, a 15-ounce can of black beans. Is it 15 ounce? Yeah, it used to be 16 ounces. Now it's 15 and a half ounces. Whatever. Point is that we're getting less beans, spending more money, because that's what you do. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see that the seeds are starting to change in color from black to sort of like an opaque white color. And you can sort of hear them cracking. If I shut up, it'll let you hear the cracking. And that's what you want. You want them to crack. You want them to splutter. You want them to pop. You want them to heat through all the way, because if they don't, they're not gonna taste very good. So see how some of it jumped out into my stove? That's why I'm kind of trying to keep it in the back so it doesn't try to jump out at me. Next, I'm gonna add some fenugreek seeds. This is optional. I like the taste of fenugreek seeds, so I'm adding it in. Then a little bit of cumin seed right there. And you hear how everything's getting all excited and popping and cracking like crazy? That's the noises you're listening for. And then I'm going to add some asafoetida because I am entirely too lazy right now to chop up any onion. So that just went in. And I'm going to add some curry leaves. Curry leaves are optional. Sometimes they're hard to find, but whatever. And if you notice, every now and then I'm picking up the pot off the heat and just kind of swirling it around so that the spices don't burn. And then, now that my spices are all popped and my curry leaves are fried, I'm going to add my can of beans. And I'm adding the liquid that came with it. I'm adding everything that went in there. I'm going to drop down my heat to medium low, so that doesn't make a mess all over my stove. And there's still some beans left in there, so I'm just going to rinse it out with some water. And as you can see, I haven't done dishes, so it's been a long day. I am exhausted. All right, so I'm just going to rinse out that can with some water. Throw that in there too. It's not going to hurt anything. There's a few beans left. I'll get that out with a spoon later and add it to the pot. But you basically get the point. That's the long and short of making dal tarka. Like you take some oil, you throw some spices in there, some curry leaves if you have them, and then you add your cooked beans, and that's it. That's really the extent of it. It took me less than 5 minutes to explain this to you from start to finish. Yes, I did have my little spice box out here ready to go. So I'm not sitting here and like opening a bunch of jars and taking all this time. And by the time this comes back up to the boil, you know, it'll well past beat the rice in getting there. So I can have my pot of beans cooked in less than 5 minutes, and if I had my rice already cooked because I was being prepared, I would have already been eating by now. But I did not have time this morning to make my rice, so I had to do it now that I've come home. Anyway, it's there we go. You see, it's starting to come to a boil. There's some steam rising off the surface. All I want this to do is for it to come to like a nice rolling boil, so that I can make sure that the spices get incorporated in there. So it's just a personal preference. Some people don't bother with this extra step of letting it all come to a full rushing boil. Some people just stop right here because the beans are already hot. So when they add the spices to it, it's pretty much like everything's already hot. So why are you bothering with this extra step of bringing it all to a rushing boil? There we go. I finally got a spoon and scraped off the last of those beans from the can. I'm not about to lose any of it. I paid good money for this damn can of beans, so I'm gonna get all of it that I can. There we go. That's about as good as it's gonna get, and then I'll take care of that later. So it's an optional step. You don't have to do this. If you're hungry now, just ladle it out and start eating bread, potato, rice, pasta, noodles, whatever you want. It does go pretty good with anything. If you're feeling really, really, really lazy and it's one of those nights, there's nothing wrong with grabbing a bag of tortilla chips and using this as a dip for them. It's quite delicious. The spices and everything else kind of meld really nicely. You might notice I haven't added salt to the pot of beans. That's because the beans already come with a fair bit of salt in them already, so I don't really add too much until I'm at the table. So I can adjust it to exactly how much I need. But you are more than welcome to add salt if you make the beans from scratch, or if you're using like a low sodium bean type of situation. That's perfectly valid. I've seen some people even do the thing where they'll take the beans that have already been spiced, and they'll throw in like a stock cube or something like that. That's fine. I don't feel the need to do it because the fenugreek seeds and the mustard seeds and the cumin seeds all sort of make their own kind of stock type of flavor. So I wouldn't really fuss with it if I were you. But this is your life. You're going to lead it how you want to lead it. It's not going to hurt anything if you throw in a can of tomato sauce, like those little mini cans of tomato sauce where it's just like tomatoes and salt and whatever. Just throw that in there. A tomato product with beans is delicious. You can season it with any herbs that you like. Cilantro works great. Parsley works great. Basil works great. Doubly so if you add tomato product to it. You can also add a little bit of coconut milk to this thing if you want to make it a little bit creamy. That's not going to hurt anything at all. But I'm just keeping it plain for tonight because I'm tired and I'm hungry. So now that it's sort of starting to come up to a boil, I'm going to clean up after myself because the seeds, as they were popping, kind of got all over the place. So I'm just gonna clean this off. If you want to prevent that from happening, you can always use a splatter guard. You can use a lid on the pot. I just wanted to show you what the seeds look like when they're in there. So hopefully this is helpful to some of you, and you will try this out when you get a chance. Okay, bye.